I have never been hornier for anything in the world than this bird, and thankfully that bird turns into a human woman. She's like, oh, thank Christ.
Damn, Daniel at it again with that white swan.
No, stop. Stupid. Some stupid podcast. Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm the status quo Calico.
And this week, we celebrate 150 episodes with a full-blown Barbie Bonanza.
Whoa!
I just want to advise the audience before I say this next part. Leyla gave me permission to say it. Anyway, before we praise our cunty King Martin Short, remember you can help us mortify the legitimacy quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, signing up for our monthly newsletter through the link in our show notes, or following us on Twitter, on Tumblr, at MortifiedPod. Leyla.
Aaron.
We've hit another milestone. We're at 150.
150! Which is... Hey? Crazy. Cheers, King.
Cheers. We're getting drunk this episode, by the way, listeners. Sorry about that.
We always drink to our milestone.
Long time listeners know this. It's going to be a sloppy one. But yeah, this has been, Mortified started in roughly April of 2020. It is now August of 2023. 150 episodes. We have missed some. We take some holidays off.
This year's just been a tough year for us,
It's been a very difficult year, but we are hanging in there, and we're still relatively consistent, and it's been a good time, I think.
It's been a great time. On a genuine note, we've become much better friends, right? We became friends on Twitter.com, which is rare.
Yeah.
Genuine, it's rare for me to form a genuine friendship on Twitter because I'm so wary of people, but
right.
You were normal enough that I followed you back, and then we just started talking, and then in the beginning of the pandemic, we were like, hey, we're going insane. Do you want to start a podcast just so we have a scheduled hang with a human being outside of our immediate respective circles, which for you is your lovely wife, and for me is at the time was my neighbor, and we've been doing it ever since, and we've gotten to be much better friends. I've been to your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
We've hung out in Philadelphia. Also, whatchamacallit, me and your lovely wife talk all the time. She sends me great TikToks. And we've become better critics and better participants in the conversation of art, which I think is really great. And thank you so much for being with me through this journey.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be straight up, right? Leyla is one of my closest friends at this point now, and if those of you who are listening because you know me from the YouTube channel I do, Leyla is kind of the reason I ended up doing that channel, because they, in 2021 were like, hey, I've been writing a bunch of essays, you should try to do it too. And I was like, yeah, that seems good. And, I wrote 12 essays in 2021, and that kind of helped sharpen that instinct. And, between Mortified and writing essays, that's how I got to be Aaron Voigt, YouTube critic. So thank you to Leyla for, one, giving me a platform and a reason to do that, but two, giving me the confidence to do that. So I'm genuinely very grateful for our friendship. It's meant a lot.
It's a great friendship. I've now dragged Aaron into multiple group chats with my other friends and just melding all my friend groups together. But truly, if you see us pursuing something creatively, there's a non-zero chance that one of us was like, well, I want to do this, but I'm feeling a little shy, and the other one just goes, you should do it. Mm-hmm. And then that's how we do things.
Yeah. I just realized two of my one of my video essays I'm most proud of, including my one that's most viewed, my mouse reader one, has a reference to Mortified in it. It opens with me talking about Mortified, which is really nice. So thank you to
Full
Mortified for making me watch Secret of Nim. All right, to commemorate, longtime listeners will remember at 100 episodes we watched 5 Disney sequels. For episode 50, we actually played a tabletop game that was Interstitial Our Hearts Intertwined, because me and Leyla are famously Kingdom Hearts fans. But now we are going a similar route. Leyla, what have we done to celebrate 150 episodes?
We have watched 5 incredible animated Barbie movies. Not the new I was gonna say Greta Thunberg.
Nope.
Girl, this Apothic White's really getting
Wow.
my head.
We are really in it.
Greta Gerwig. Not the brand new beautiful Greta Gerwig movie, but 5 classic. We basically what we did is we sat down on Wikipedia, we went through the entire list of all the Barbie movies, there's a lot, and we just picked a couple of classics and a couple that just sounded a little unhinged.
And they were. We'll start with I think our worst one by far, not by far, by a good amount, is Video Game Hero. So, Leyla, this was a 2017 movie, I think made for Netflix, wherein Barbie gets sucked into a video game and has to fight a virus. You don't remember much of this, based on our conversations.
I did not absorb the last 45 minutes of this film.
And that's fair, because not a whole lot happens. They're in Minecraft, and it's wild.
So they go through... What do you think the first one is? Because the second one's Angry Birds.
The first one is, like, a little Fortnite, but also, like, there's a lot of... Because it's, like, a racing game, right? So, like, because they're, you know, Barbie's a coder in this one. Her 2 friends from Spy Kids or whatever, Spy Squad, are talking to her, and she's like trying to figure out this coding issue. She gets sucked into the video game after having a conversation with her little sister Chelsea about the importance of playing the game the way you want to play it. And Leyla, a professional video game dev, is making a face.
Bonkers thing to... So, okay, I buy Barbie as a solo dev, right? Like, people make their own games all the time. What was going on with... What was his name? Cutie?
Yeah, Cutie, the AI cloud.
Yeah, there's a little... Is he a cloud? He looked like soft serve to me.
He is kind of that. He's kind of both.
Yeah, he's like a little cloudy soft serve helper AI. And when we got into that, I was like, oh, here's the cartoon logic.
Yeah.
So they go through, the whole plot of the movie is they go through these, like, Barbie gets sucked into the game, there's a virus, and the virus is like these... They look kind of like... They're called emojis, but they look like Pac-Man ghosts.
Oh, that's true. That's a great pull.
So they look like little Pac-Man ghosts, and they're just, like, spreading, like minions. Like, they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. Barbie has to, as the player, beat each of the 3 levels that she goes into, beat the NPCs in those levels, and then she kind of ends up, like, taking the NPCs out of their levels and, like, taking them on this big adventure, and the whole thing, all the Barbie movies have, like, a core message to them, right, because they're for children. Mm-hmm. This one is very much about teamwork, and about, like, again, playing the game how you want to play it, which is an interesting subjective statement, because I don't know if I agree with that wholesale. Like, there are some games that are meant to be played as designed, and then there are some games that are meant to be played however the fuck you want to play them. It's just an interesting little... I don't know where they were going with that. I don't think there's a lot of gamers on the Barbie Video Game Heroes, squad.
I don't know, because, like, they go through a couple of different, like, there's some, like, I think the story is broadly very bland, right? It ends with them just being like, yeah, you have to code cheat codes into Minecraft and import Just Dance so you can beat the big video game boss.
The Just Dance fucking product placement was so funny.
It was really good. Shoutouts to Ubisoft for snagging the Barbie promos. But like there's a bit where, like, there's, like, a Barbie enters the game screen where, like, it looks like a Smash screen for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are some, like, little jokes in here that I'm like, I think, like, they could kind of have it. Like, one of them is just definitely a cross between Angry Birds and, like, any Match 3 game, like Candy Crush. But, like, there's just, like, such like, fun little tidbits here. Like, even though it's, like, broadly colorful, I actually really liked Video Game Hero in a weird way.
See, this is, I just didn't absorb it, I think, is my problem. It was just, like, too formulaic to be a movie for me. And so at some point my brain just went blank.
No, I
And it
think
all
that's
bounced
completely
off of
fair,
me.
right? Like this thing should have been like 40 minutes long and the arc would have been the same. But like,
Yeah.
there's a bit where she is like, she's trying to beat the big mob of emoji monsters, and they're playing Just Dance, and she is still in her Minecraft body. And like she's losing because she can't bend her elbows or knees. Like, that's a good joke.
Is that why she said I got my elbows back?
Yes.
Like, see what I mean? It just went over the fucking head.
Right.
Damn.
No, but I thought it was really good. I mean, I guess I don't know. The Chihuahua song. Whoever wrote that should be in the Hague. But like,
Not the heck.
Other than that, I really liked it. It was colorful. It was fun, and it was introducing children to the concept of coding, which is nice.
It looked great.
Yeah.
And truly, I really like the way she talks about coding because Chelsea, Barbie's little sister, is like a great tool in these movies that keeps coming back, that she gets to ask all the little kid questions for Barbie to like answer. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what's code? And Barbie's like, well, code is a set of instructions that a computer can get, And I thought that was such a nice explanation of code that is like kid friendly, but also like enticing. And the things she does with code are very like cosmetic and fun, and everything in the Barbie universe is like cupcakes and stars and sparkle. It's just like, it's such a good like intro to STEM concepts for children. And then the other underlying message is like teamwork and how to grow into being a better member of a team. It's great. The core constructs of the movie are great. I think it's just the fourth Barbie movie I watched this weekend, and I like was really tired today, and I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I usually have like a pretty low tolerance for like little kid stuff, but like, I don't know. I feel like some of the stuff in these movies like did wear me down to the point where like there's a joke where there's two NPCs who are like very competitive, and then Barbie's like, no, we got to work together and be a team, and he's like, what's a TM? I was just like, you know what? Fine, sure, I'll laugh at that.
The TM line got me. It was really good. Yeah, I mean, like, a pretty good movie. Like, I would like to up my rating by 1.5, which will bring it to 6, and you gave it a 6.5, so 12.5.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. The actual one that I thought was like genuinely, I didn't even think this one was bad. There's some colonial overtones that I don't love in Dolphin Magic, but like, I thought it was like a completely fine movie. But this was like my least favorite.
Yeah, Dolphin Magic is just kind of bland. But gay.
Yeah, so in Barbie Dolphin Magic, what happens is that Barbie and her enormous family, we get
4 sisters and 4 puppies on vacation.
It sounds like hell.
If I was their neighbor, I would kill myself.
Yeah, no, I would burn their Mojo Dojo Casa house down in an instant. I would be throwing Molotov cocktails through there because that must be a nightmare to live next to. But like, yeah, like, so the concept is, so we have Barbie, right? We have Chelsea again. We have Skipper, right? Who is basically like, she's got a blue streak in her hair, and she's all about technology and photography. She like is trying to win like a photography.
She runs a photo blog,
right? Which is a fascinating concept because again, this one also came out in 2017. Do photo blogs exist?
I mean, I guess Instagram, right? It's not like Blogger anymore, but Instagram is technically a photo blog.
That's a good point. Okay, all right. Sorry, Skipper, for harshing your vibe.
Pre recommendation algorithm Instagram would be a photo blog.
Right, yeah. Instagram got worse, huh? Man.
Instagram's not great.
Yeah, it's a disaster. But yeah, so, and who's the last one? The one with the cast. So we have Skipper, Stacy. This is too many characters, right? There are too many weird like characters and plot lines here that don't matter. I don't know why there's 4 Barbie sisters, but like also there's a lot of sisterhood themes in this one, so I guess that's fine. Ken's in this one.
Ken's here. He's gay in this one. That's a twink.
I mean, he doesn't interact with anybody who's not a woman. So like I don't know. I think
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, listen. He's also, like, described, like, explicitly as, like, my best friend who, like, lived next door. So Ken is actually their next door neighbor, so he's the one who would be burning their house down. But he's a marine biology, like, he's, like, doing, like, his capstone project as an undergrad or something out in this, like, you know, island resort area. Yeah. And he talks about how he, like, is, like, cleaning the tanks for, like, sea urchins and starfish, right? And his boss is a poacher.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all, here's where we get... Okay, this island is supposed to be Hawaii, right?
I mean, if it's not Hawaii, it's any, you know, like, quote-unquote, like, tropical island that, you know, rich white American tourists visit.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, don't go to Hawaii. Do donate to any fundraisers for the fires. Don't go to Hawaii. The locals have asked for so long for mainlanders to stop going to Hawaii. But it is just a little wild that these girls are there on their tropical vacation, and then Ken is there doing his little capstone internship thing. And then I didn't see, other than Isla, the mermaid, I didn't see a single... Well, I didn't see anyone else, period, other than the tourists that were getting harassed by my favorite character, the crab.
The crab is the all-time best character in this one. You gotta give it up for the crab.
There's just a kleptomaniac crab.
Just stealing shit, just harassing people on the beach. It rules.
I love it. He has a coconut shell with a straw sticking out of it. It's so fucking funny. I love him.
He's great. He's great.
In a movie that is otherwise pretty bland.
Yeah, no.
Because the whole conceit is like, Isla's a mermaid, and there are 4 special gemstone dolphins. And one of the dolphins gets caught by the marine biologist, and she's like, oh, he's sick. The vet's gonna come out tomorrow to check him out, Barbie, so don't come back until then. But in reality, the vet is a, quote-unquote vet, is the sideshow operator that's coming to buy the gemstone dolphin. Mind you, the build of the marine enclosure is as such that Isla regularly, and the dolphins are not large in this movie, Isla regularly uses her magic seashell to get her legs. She will swim up to the enclosure, get up on the sand, walk around the sloped wall to go talk to Emerald. Baby, just lift him.
Yeah, like, it's not that hard.
He's not big. Just alley-oop.
I have so many questions about this operation here. So, like, one, she's clearly been able to, you know, the bad guy, Marlowe, Ken's boss.
Justice for Marlowe, because I think, you know, if she was actually a marine biologist, I would not be thrilled that my intern brought his, like, friends to come and, like, look at my dolphins and, like, perhaps free them. With their puppies.
With their dogs, with their army of dogs. Yeah, I would be kind of pissed off. 2, okay, so she's a poacher, right? She's trying to capture marine animals and sell them to a sideshow man. Let's assume that's profitable. Okay. How did Ken get this internship? What school did he go to?
What?
How did they vet this program?
What sketchy Craigslist listing did this idiot respond to?
Listen, during my grad school program, I had no help getting my internship lined up for my capstone. I had to do that all myself. I was ready to do some shit. But, like, yeah, this is really desperate, bro.
I mean, I guess, you know, if you're like, oh, free lodging on a beautiful tropical island, sign this 15-page NDA before you come work for me.
Don't bring your passport.
If I'm like 22, I guess, you know what I mean? But like, yeah. Ken, what are we doing here, baby?
You should know better, bud.
He's so dumb. Now, I would like to discuss the scene that sent me to hell in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is that?
So, this flick came out in the time that Pitch Perfect had a grip on our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this one... This is not a musical. There are no songs in this movie except for this one song. And it's the 4 sisters, Isla, who's the mermaid, who has legs in this sequence, and Ken. And for some reason, Barbie always has a special talent in these movies. For some reason, in this one, it's her playing, the shell game with coconuts. The shell game. Wild. But then they get their little coconut drinks and they start doing, like, a cappella percussion with them. Mm-hmm. And singing a song about sisterhood. and I shriveled up and died.
I got a ticket for the long way around.
Too bad whiskey for the way.
Listen, I liked that song. I still like that song.
It's a great song!
But yeah, no, it is very pitch perfect coded. It's a little much because they're talking about how much they love to be sisters and how much sisterhood is very important to them. And it's
truly,
a little.
It's like sisters tell each other everything, and like one of the big, like the way all the girls find out that Isla's a mermaid. Barbie finds out first,
right?
And Isla's like, "Hey, can you like not tell anybody, please? Like, it's not that I don't trust your sisters. It's just statistically speaking, the more people you tell, the higher chance of a secret getting out," which is a fair point. And then Isla feels so bad that she's making Barbie keep secrets from her sisters that she's like, "Girls, I gotta show you something." And like shows them her mermaid tail, and I'm like, "What? What?" I mean, like, listen, I get you should tell your family most, if you have a good relationship with your family, you should tell your family most things. That one seems a little life or death.
Yeah, like, if you are the only, like, we don't see any other mermaids. Presumably there are other mermaids in this universe. But yeah, if you're the only species, and it seems like, you'd be hunted for sport, or, I mean, because in the end, Marlo tries to sell her a sentient being. She's not human. She clarifies she's not human, which is wild. But, she does try to sell, Isla away, which is fucked up, especially when Isla's the only person of color in this movie. But
yeah.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't. I guess Skipper did like get a picture of her with her underwater camera, so like there was some mermaid speculation going on already. But like, it is a wild premise.
Skipper gets a blurry iPad photo of a mermaid swimming by in a coral reef, and then is able to put a filter on it to like sharpen it and make out that it's a mermaid, which I love cartoon logic. So yeah, exactly. That's how it works. For sure. You put a filter on it.
Yeah, and then it's literally just enhance, right? Computer enhance.
It is.
There's also a very funny bit where, so like, there's 4 gemstone dolphins, and the sideshow guy, Hugo, I guess, is like coming to, he's gonna try to buy them all. He comes to take them in a helicopter, which I don't know if you know anything about the ways that marine animals are transported, but like, you should not try to take 4 dolphins in a helicopter anywhere.
No, that doesn't seem like a very good idea. I do like that his logo was like a walrus. Wow, that was a way to pronounce that word. A walrus cosplaying as Mr. Peanut.
That's really good. Yeah, it was like with a monocle. Yeah, that's fun.
Pretty good.
And also, like, how Hugo's plot line gets resolved. He's like, I'm tired of chasing all these animals. I'm going to leave. Like, that's how he's defeated. He gets bored.
Yeah, I love a poacher in a Hawaiian shirt just getting bored. So, like, this movie, if you can't tell from our conversation, was just kind of like a mishmash of, like, kind of charming moments, but none of them really went together. So it was just a mishmash of kind of charming, disconnected moments, and then 2 bottle whiskey for the way in the middle.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I mean, again, you can make the read that this is, like, a weird colonizer Barbie, like, because she does, like, kind of help Isla in a big way, and, like, Barbie is giving a little bit, like, Aryan supremacy here with, like, her like, blonde hair, blue eyes, and, like, that's not a fair read. It's kind of an ungenerous read, but, like, when Isla is literally the only person of color, and she has magic powers, and she needs help from a group of nice white people, it's like, okay, we're kind of getting into weird territory here. I don't know that we need this, but, it's fine.
And Barbie and Isla are baby lesbians.
They do like, at the very end, Isla gives her like a shell to like send her a signal, and then at the very end of the movie, Barbie goes out to the sea and like sends a signal to her
repeatedly.
Yeah, for like several minutes. It's just like, oh man, I miss my friend. And then Isla shows up, and then she's just like, oh, Barbie, and they have like a very like tender I mean, it is romantic, not in the sense that, like, there is explicit, like, them making out or anything, but, like, there is, like, a lot of, like, longing and yearning and stuff that I would consider in the oeuvre of romantic feelings. It is weird that that's not the tone that the movie ends on, but you know what? Go off.
Well, it's not even that, but it's just, like, Barbie at one point, Isla's, like, revealing that she's a mermaid, and Barbie's like, can you teach me to swim like a mermaid? And Isla, like their little swimming learning montage, they're in very close proximity at times where they don't have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Isla's very much like, yeah, you just gotta hold your legs together, like, very...
And their faces are like 2 inches from each other. I was like, who choreographed this?
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Interesting choice. Weird movie.
Very odd. What are the core lesson of this one is just like sisterhood.
Yeah,
and be like, nice to animals, right?
Yeah. Don't sell animals to shady dudes, and your sisters are the most important thing in the world.
And a crab will steal your shit.
Crabs are thieves, also.
Crab slander.
I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on Spy Squad, because I really liked Spy Squad.
Spy Squad fucking ruled. So, Spy Squad sees the appearance of the second cuntiest character we're going to talk about today, which is Patricia. Patricia's so cunty. She just shows up in the first of all, okay, not to be a gymnastics snob on Maine, I guess, but like a solo floor routine would not be competing against like a squad gymnastics, or sorry, a solo bar routine would not be competing against a solo floor gymnastics routine. Y'all get it. It's weird. They're not in the same category. 1, 2, Patricia shows up, serves cunt, leaves. And that is her whole shtick throughout the whole movie. And I'll tell you, it actually took me a little while to figure out that she was the cat burglar.
Oh, no, really?
It took me a second. I was like, oh shit! That's probably her.
Yeah.
The Triple Arabian really got me.
The Triple Arabian was very good. No, I was like, oh, this is the villain, because she's better than Barbie. It's pretty easy to spot the villains because they're either the only man or somebody who is, going to be, in conflict with Barbie in some way. But, she turns good in the end, so it's fine.
Yeah, so the conceit here is that these Barbie, what is it, Teresa? What are their names?
Yeah, Teresa and Renee, I believe.
Barbie, Teresa, and Renee. Barbie's Barbie. Teresa is this, like, science-y robotics dweeb. And then Renee is kind of
She loves
Gretchen
pizza.
Wieners. She loves pizza.
Right.
She's kind of the Gretchen Wieners of the operation, except parentheses positive.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of them are in a gymnastics squad, again, competing against a solo bar routine, who's to say. And they fuck up, because Barbie... This is actually, as far as messages go, I think this is my favorite one. Because Barbie gets in her own head, messes up the final, like, landing of their routine, and they all get really sad. And, Auntie Zoe, Renee's Auntie Zoe, is like, well, girls, why don't you come have a picnic? Like, come to the Hollywood sign. We'll have a picnic. The girls show up, and Auntie Zoe's not there. And then all of a sudden, the Hollywood fucking sign opens up, and these three chuckle fucks just walk in, and they find a cool spy lair. Mm-hmm. And Auntie Zoe is not just like, I've pronounced that name 3 different times.
And it gets better every time.
I'm drinking white apothic wine out of a giant Barbie wine glass while I'm talking, so we're doing it. My face is so red, you can tell on my camera that it's red. Anyway, Auntie Zoe is like, apparently not just like a freak who loves to crochet in a Hawaiian shirt all the time, which was very relatable to me, but she's like a hot British lady. And Renee is the only one that had a normal reaction to this, because she was like, since when are you British? You're my aunt!
Yeah, no.
And no explanation was served for this. It was just like, you'll get used to it. So they go through...
That's not an explanation, Auntie!
It's not an explanation. So basically, Auntie's like, listen, girls, I've watched you perform your whole lives. I think you're great. I think you have what it takes. I want you to be secret agents. And the girls are like... They have mixed reactions, but they all, eventually they all convince each other to do it. And they get trained by this secret agent who's, like, clearly the villain. Mm-hmm. And they, do all these, like, obstacle courses and shit. And they're chasing this, like, cat burglar who's their age, who's, again, Patricia, as she is stealing gemstones to power an EMP.
So this is very much like the Marvel movies, right? This is the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Honestly, this is better.
I mean, I think it is better, like, thematically, emotionally. But yeah, so, it is a wild premise.
the girls fuck up 2 of their missions, but the guy, their like tech guy, their Wade, whatever the fuck his name is, my favorite character in the whole movie, whose name I cannot remember.
I'm fine. I'm looking for it.
Laszlo,
that's right.
Laszlo, their 17-year-old robotics genius who has a crush on Teresa, who's also the robotics genius. He's like, okay, I know you like fucked up your missions and stuff, but you know, I think you guys should keep your equipment one more day. I'm not supposed to, but like, I'm gonna let you keep your equipment one more day, and then you can give it back tomorrow. And the girls are like, oh my god, thanks. And then obviously, like, Patricia does some cat burglar shit, and they go catch her at the last second.
Well, Patricia reveals that she's been the cat burglar during their, like, qualifiers or whatever.
She does not give a fuck.
Yeah, she's just like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm always gonna be better than you, so like, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out that Agent Dunbar, who's been training them, has hired Patricia because he wants to use the EMP to blow up the giant server at the spy agency and like rule the world, basically, because he's tired of being overlooked, because he's pissed that Auntie Zoe got the job of like director over him. And the whole movie is about like overcoming your anxieties and like doing the thing that scares you, even though you're afraid you're going to fail, because you have to just like believe in yourself enough to know that you're not going to fail. And then like, you know, there's the sub message of like teamwork and friendship, and like they bring Patricia in, she has her, you know, her turn and stuff like that. But I thought it was a lot of fun.
I loved this one. I thought there were like so many weird, funny gags. Barbie is like dangerously close to becoming Darth Maul in several instances. She gets like a fucking a bow staff laser sword, kind of. Like, it's not
Jedi Barbie the whole time.
Yeah, no, I took some screenshots, and she very much looks like Darth Maul in several of them. It's incredible. But yeah, there's so much weird shit. Like the Laszlo, he has like this invisible mug that says "World's Best Roboticist," and he keeps knocking it over. It's so, yeah, it's so funny.
It's the funniest. It's one of the funniest gags in the movie. To me, it's the second funniest gag in the movie, because he can't find it, he spills it, and then at the end scene, him and Auntie Zoe are drinking tea together, and he has the invisible mug, and he clinks it. My first favorite gag is his disguise powder brush, because it turns the girls' heads into his head.
Yeah.
And I think that is hysterical.
That's something. There's something going on with Laszlo. That man is going to get pegged so much in 10 years.
There's something very gender about Laszlo, and good for him.
Yeah, you've got to respect it. There's a lot of talk about visualization, which is wild. Which I think it's intended well, but it is like, as you pointed out in your notes, just like, hey, just visualize doing this complicated gymnastics move you've never done before.
Yeah, when sports are a lot of, like, muscle memory, like, I don't think, like, it's kind of like the video game thing for me, right? Where it's, like, the right message, but I'm not sure it's in the right metaphor. Hard to tell. But this movie ultimately fucked. I loved it. I had a great time watching it.
It was really fun. You know, it's just like, what if we did Barbie but James Bond? You know, they have the MI6M, you know, like, that's Aunt Zoe. They have, like, Q, that's Laszlo, but also they give a bunch of, like, fun gadgets. There's a bunch of, like, there's several laser grid sequences. You know, Mortified loves a laser grid.
Oh, we love a laser grid.
It's just great and fun. It's like, that's kind of what I hoped that these movies would be. It's just like a bunch of weird, silly, fun stuff. And they're, you know, it's just Barbie and her friends having a good time and working for the CIA.
Yeah, casual. I would like to point out the top 3 of our films are, like, very close together in score. So when we talk about these top 3, they're all just fantastic.
I do think Popper kind of blows everything else out of the water, but we'll get there.
True. But Spy Squad and our next contender, Swan Lake, pretty close together on the enjoyment scale.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about Swan Lake.
Tchaikovsky did that. You know, I love Swan. I've played Swan Lake many a time. I love Swan Lake. And, like, just, I think part of my enjoyment of this movie was colored by how much I love Swan Lake.
I think it almost has to be, right? Because there is a lot of just dancing and, you know,
They
like
do
just...
the actual the Sugar Plum Fairy Dance. God damn it! Those are two different things.
That's
they do the
Nutcracker,
actual
right?
Sugar Plum Fairy Dance because they got actual ballet dancers from the New York City Ballet to do reference footage for this.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, 6 dancers are credited in Barbie Swan Lake.
That rules. Yeah, I mean, like, so I don't actually know the story of Swan Lake very well. But basically,
it's not quite this.
I would wager it's a little different.
So, listen, it's not dissimilar.
Oh, isn't it?
I mean, like, there is a black swan. She does swap in for Odette. But, you know, it's also a ballet, so it meanders quite a bit, and this is supposed to be a 90-minute children's movie. I'll tell ya, I don't remember, I could be wrong, I don't remember there being a fairy queen of the Enchanted Forest who needs to fight her cousin Rothbart for the crown. I don't remember that bit. I also don't remember a horny Spanish skunk and a horny Russian hedgehog children fairy.
Oh my god.
I don't remember those things from the ballet. But I could be wrong because it's been a couple years since I've seen it.
So what happens is there's Barbie is
Run
telling...
me through.
So Barbie's telling... This is all framed as a story Barbie's telling to her sister Kelly.
Barbie is telling the story at a sleepaway. What is the correlation between the sleepaway camp and Swan Lake?
I think it's about courage.
Sure.
I have no idea, but basically, like, so we have Odette. She's a young baker's daughter, basically, and you know she is trying to, you know, make life easy for her baker dad. You know, and also there's a prince. His name's Prince Daniel. He's very good at shooting arrows. That's important, probably. At some point, a unicorn shows up, and Odette chases the unicorn and finds herself in an enchanted forest. And the unicorn has got a lot of attitude.
Yeah, Leyla the unicorn. She's choosing violence every day.
Very funny.
She, like, Kakashi's a motherfucker at one point. She sticks her horn.
I was gonna say, yeah.
She gets a colonoscopy with her horn.
I was gonna say, Rothbart got his prostate unicorned in a major way. And, like...
Get your prostate unicorn episode fucking title.
But yeah, basically she finds a magic crystal, and that's the crystal that helps them break the curse that...
No, okay, hold on. The contrivance of the crystal is that Leyla gets her stupid head caught in a stupid rope around a tree, and Barbie, as Odette, is in this enchanted forest. She ran after this fucking unicorn and is like, oh, I gotta find something to cut you free. And she finds a teardrop gemstone in a tree. Leyla's screaming at her, don't touch it! Touches it anyway. And then Leyla's like, what the fuck? And then that is how Odette becomes the chosen one. Because then she cuts Leyla free, and then all the creatures... With the gemstone! And then all the creatures of the forest and the fairy queen descend, and they're like, you're the chosen one now. The pressure.
It's really good. It's great. You love to see it. How do you feel about Rothbart?
Well, he does look like Toucan Dan the Toucan.
As a longtime Monster Factory fan, yeah, he does have an extreme... He's supposed to be a bird wizard, right? But he does look like something the McElroys generated in a video game character creator screen.
Yeah, because it's 2003 and anti-Semitic stereotypes were still chill and cool.
Yeah, that's not great. Don't love the beak nose shit, but like, you know, he's a big bird man. His daughter, who is it's Odile.
Odile.
Yeah, Odile. I don't know why they had 2 O names, but sure.
Odette and Odile.
Sure, whatever. They're both bird themed. Odile is fun because
Yeah, but Odile laughs like a dolphin.
I was gonna say, yeah, Odile has a dolphin laugh, which is awesome. It rules. She should have shown up in Dolphin Magic. I wish that she had a callback.
She's so consistent with it, too. She hits it the same every time.
It's really good. It's an incredible performance. Shout outs. Yeah, like, that's the thing, that like a lot of Swan Lake really kind of got murky for me after Odette gets turned into a swan. And then I was like, well, I guess the prince shows up. And he does see the bird, and he's like,
Daniel,
I have never been hornier for anything in the world than this bird. And thankfully, that bird turns into a human woman. So he's like, oh, thank Christ.
Damn, Daniel, at it again with that white swan.
No, stop. Stupid. Some stupid podcast.
That's the funniest joke I'll make all day.
I'm gonna throw up. So he's like, yeah, I'll save you. I'll come back with an army. And she's like, don't do that. That seems bad.
Yeah, why did he jump to that?
He's like, I'm a part of an empire. This is how we solve problems. But she's like, no, I gotta find a book that's being helped by a troll, right? Erasmus the Troll.
Oh. I don't want to talk about Erasmus the Troll.
You don't like Erasmus?
I fucking hate him.
Why?
He's so wet.
He's a sloppy little guy.
I hate him. I don't like him. I loathe his organizational system. It's a bad way to store and treat books. He throws them around everywhere.
Yeah, he's just got like a labyrinth of books everywhere, and he doesn't know where the special magic book is.
Even though it's on his chair!
Yeah. Foolish. What a fool. Absolute moron.
Yeah, Erasmus the Troll's a lot.
At one point, you mentioned the fairies. Do you want to talk about the fair? They do a dance for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Swan Lake. That's yeah.
Okay, that's true. It's a ballet.
So the fairies show up at first as forest creatures because they've all been kaised. Kind of like the furniture in Beauty and the Beast. They're all just animals now. And then the fairy queen is like, okay, I think at night I can get you guys to turn into, like, humans again. Or during the daytime? What part of the day are they human in?
I think it's the day, and then at the night they're...
No, because Odette and the prince hang out overnight.
No, you're right. It is through the night. It's when the moon sunrise is out that they're human.
Right, so they turn into humans, but here's the thing. They turn into children with adult voices. And the skunk and the hedgehog are very horny for each other.
It's a lot. It's not great.
The skunk is Spanish, and the hedgehog is Russian. Now, is there a Spanish dance in Swan Lake? Yes, there is. Tchaikovsky was Russian. I think there's like a little Russian-sounding portion of Swan Lake. I could be wrong. There's that. So yes, those are Swan Lake dances. And then they do a little dance, and then at some point the girls do like the Sugar Plum Fairy dance. Fine. They are my favorite and least favorite characters simultaneously.
Yeah, because they are very funny. There's a bit where he does the hedgehog man does a spin, and he turns into a Pokemon because he's shooting quills everywhere. And, there's a bit where, the skunk lady's like, hey, Ivan, watch the spikes, or whatever. And, at the very end of this movie, when they turn back into normal, humans and they don't have all their animal traits, she's like, hey, Ivan, no quills. And it's the horniest delivery I've ever heard, and it makes me so uncomfortable.
Okay, hey, y'all. Baldur's Gate 3, extremely mild, first act spoilers. Listen, it is hornier than Baldur's Gate 3, the game with, several nudity warnings, where one of the characters burns too hot and is so touch-starved that she, outright tells you in the first 15 seconds of meeting her. It is hornier than resolving that in an adult video game. It's an energy.
it would be much better if they were modeled as adults, but they are modeled as like children, like short children, or at least very, very short adults, and I don't love that. But like, listen, they're Fae. It's fine, I guess.
I also wrote down from their little dance. I wrote down one of their lines. Ivan, you need some salsa flavor.
Yes, yeah, she says that because she's a Hispanic person of some sort.
Who's to say? The 2000s, this early, listen, this is Bush era Swan Lake, you know?
Yeah, it was fine to be openly racist.
It was fine to be a lot of things. I would pay any amount of money to be in this writer's room where they, like, take little Post-its and they put down all the plot points of Swan Lake and then they turn it into the most 2003 thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like, this is a very much a summation of what media was like at that time. It's like, yeah, whatever, we'll just do shit. It's fine, no one can stop us.
Why would you name the prince Daniel?
You don't like the name Daniel?
No, not for a prince.
You don't think that's a princely name?
No, I don't. With
Sad.
Daniel. I don't think, no offense to all the Daniels out there, I'm sure you're lovely boys. I don't think I could ever fuck a Daniel, you know? There's something about it.
My dad's name is Daniel.
Well, thank God.
Brutal.
Brutal takedown of your father.
Of my mom, actually.
That's, well, she's a lovely woman who can make her own choices, but brutal takedown of your father.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one of my favorite movies from this period is The Swan Princess, and the prince's name in there is Derek, so I don't think we're doing much better.
Yeah, that's valid.
Shout out Swan Princess for the most iconic fucking breakup sequence of all time, where everyone's like, oh, finally, the two children we've arranged marry, they're gonna do it, they're gonna get married, and then Odette's like, okay, hold on, you just said I'm hot, that's great, thanks so much, but like, what else? And Derek says, what else is there? And then his cunty footman in the next fucking scene goes, you should write a book, How to Offend Women in 5 Words or Less, which is, speaking of brutal takedowns. Incredible.
How does this Swan Princess get resolved?
Well, Odette dies for a minute.
Yeah. She gets, there's a laser battle. It's very much like in Mewtwo Strikes Back, where Mew and Mewtwo are like shooting laser beams at each other, and then Ash gets turned to stone, except in this instance, Odette just gets shot with like a laser attack or some shit.
While Odile is doing the pas de deux with, wow, my mouth is not pronouncing words. I'm not even correcting that. With the prince. And it's very jarring because Odile has a face. And Odette is Barbie. So, and you're just seeing them cut back and forth between Odette and Odile because Odile has an illusion on her that's making damn Daniel think that she's Odette. That's a lot of words that just came out of my mouth. And then it's just a very jarring sequence. And then Swan Odette is like flying around the windows, and then that's what causes the whole of her getting like lasered. And then she does just plummet to the ground. And there is a moment where everyone's like, is she dead? And then the fairy queen is like, no, she's not dead yet. And they like take her and flee with her to the forest. It's a lot. There's a lot. It's a very, very Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's wild. The wizard man eventually gets crystallized.
Rothbart.
Yeah, he gets turned into a clock.
So Odile ends up a maid, and Rothbart gets turned into a cuckoo clock. It's an ending.
Yep. Wild program.
And then, the wedding is in the forest with all the forest creatures.
Which
is where the no quills line happens.
Right. I did make a note that they did say that the cake was free because her dad's a baker, which is fun.
He's a prince. He should be paying your father a cajillion dollars.
Yeah,
like, for that cake.
Listen, I don't think that marriage is going to go well, but who's to say?
Who is to say? I'm happy for them. Why was she wearing fairy wings at the end? Is she just like permanently magical now?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay.
Godspeed.
I'm looking at my notes, and I just have, out of context, it just says, not the wet log and heels, Barbara. Sure. Whatever that means, past Leyla.
God in heaven. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Here's the real one, the best one.
Okay. My
100%.
notes for this were so out of pocket that Aaron texted me halfway through the movie going, can I just watch this with you?
Yeah, Leyla seemed like they were having such a good time. I was like, I need to see Layla's reactions live.
And we had a blast.
It was great. So, The Princess and the Pauper.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, very good movie, IMO. Like, it's so good that I went to come watch it again with Leyla. Like, if that's an endorsement of this movie, I don't know what else is. We got Annalise and Erica, right? Annalise is the princess, Erica the pauper.
Annalise needs to stop worrying about rocks and get some fucking civics lessons.
Yeah, Annalise and her mom are doing bad management of their country, unfortunately.
It's the drill tweet.
Yeah, it's very much like $3,000 on science lessons. So can somebody help my kingdom? My economy is ruined. But Erica has to work as, like, straight up, she just says that she's an indentured servant at the seamstress's shop, which is, Barbie handling, like, forms of slavery is not something that I thought was going to happen.
What is the seamstresses? Is it Madame Crabs?
It's Madame Carp.
Carp. Okay, so for the anime fans in the audience, Madame Carp is Kaede from Inuyasha. Just sit with that. Oh, and, okay, we should talk through this. We need to talk about this voice cast.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get back to the plot summary, Annalise and Erica, the woman who plays Annalise plays all the Barbies. She is also Sango from Inuyasha. The guy who plays, Julian, the like, tutor of, Annalise, who she's in love with, who's like the regular Joe she wants to marry, is fucking L from Death Note.
Wild.
Meanwhile, the king that, Erica ends up with is Goku.
L and Goku.
Go dig into the Barbie voice casts. There's some anime legends hiding in there. But so Annalise and Erica, as you were saying, Princess, Pauper, what's their deal?
Basically, Annalise has to get married because there's no money in the kingdom.
Again, bad management.
Yeah, terrible. So her mom's just like, hey, it's your duty to get married to King Dominic. And she's like, all right, I'll do it for duty.
Do they just not charge taxes in this kingdom?
Apparently not. Apparently this is a tax. This is Florida. There's no income tax.
Fucking Jesus.
And they're just like, hey, yeah, I guess I'll do that. Even though duty means doing the thing your heart may well regret. Erica, meanwhile, is, like I said, indentured servant, has to do sewing for Madame Carp to pay off her parents' debt, has a terrible life. They each have cats. What?
Did we ever find out what her parents did to get in debt?
They had to borrow money to feed her.
I see.
That is the canonical explanation.
They do each have cats. Serafina, whose accent is just wealthy.
Yep. And
then Wolfie, who is a cat that barks, and apparently it's genetic.
Yeah, that happens at the end. But yeah, basically, Julian, the Annalise's tutor, is like, hey, you're getting married soon, so I'm going to take you out, and you're going to meet, you're going to see the real life, what people are really living like in your kingdom. And, he takes her out. And during this outing, she meets Erica, who they look identical. They have the same face, except that Erica is a brunette and Annalise is a blonde. And they sing this song about how they are just like each other. You've probably heard it on TikTok. This is, like, genuinely a very good song.
It's very catchy. Actually, all of the songs in this movie pop off. They're very good. Aaron, if you saw somebody with your face, would you recognize them as having your face?
If it looked exactly like me, I think I probably would. I live in the Midwest, so there's not as many people who look like me around.
That's fair.
So I do kind of I would be pretty shocked. But yeah, they realize, and they're just like, oh, we both have our duties and our responsibilities. There's both things that we would rather do. I would rather not have to, wake up in a cold bed and, go out in the rain to find my eggs. And you would rather read science books. So we're basically the same.
Yeah, they are not the same.
They're not the same, but that's okay.
Not even in the context of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just us putting like an adult real life reading on it. Like in the context of this children's movie, they are not the same. Now, if you've ever read the original Prince and the Pauper, they do kind of intentionally switch places. Not the case in Barbie, Princess and the Pauper.
Right. Well, the thing that makes them change places is of course the best character in any of these 5 movies, our evil advisor Preminger. Leyla, what's up with Preminger?
Give it up for the cunt of cunts, Preminger. Preminger walks into any room pussy first. Preminger is an incredible character. Whoever animated him just had the most fun. He's also Martin Short.
Yeah, he is.
And, like, we didn't even mention that Rothbart was, what's his face?
Kelsey Grammer.
It's Kelsey fucking Grammer is the thing. So, Preminger is his gay little ass in a powdered wig, decides to come up with some of the most convoluted plots. He is the advisor to King Derek, who, much like Julian, is a bland hottie. And he's like, I'm personally very wealthy. I want to be king and really lock that shit in for myself.
Well, so it's implied that he's been stealing the gold from the mines. That's why they have no money.
That's why they have no money, is because he's been stealing the gold from the mines. So he decides, Aaron, what the fuck is his first plan?
Okay, so plan 1, he is going to make Annalise disappear and then find her, and the queen will be so grateful that she will marry Preminger to Annalise, and then he'll be king. But then when Annalise and Erica switch places, it's like, okay, so this person didn't mention that I kidnapped Annalise, so something weird is going on. So he decides to, I think, fake Annalise's death. He traps her in a mine, and then from there, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna marry your mom, and because I have money?
And she simply can't refuse.
And she can't refuse. It's wild. It doesn't make any sense.
And, okay. Preminger has these henchmen.
Mm-hmm. And what are their names?
I don't know. What are their names?
It's Nick and Knack, I think.
Nick and Knack, voiced by the same guy.
Oh, excellent.
Nick and Knack are the dumbest motherfuckers alive, because when when Annalise escapes the first time, one of them tries to pose as Annalise with like a mop on their head.
It's really bad. It's really
so good.
It's great.
So Preminger's plots make no sense, but they are cunty, so we stand a stunt queen. Wow, that sentence sounded like it was generated by gay AI, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I'm a bottle of wine deep, so I'm sorry for what is gonna continue to come out of my mouth for the rest of this episode. Anyway, yeah, so Annalise gets kidnapped. Julian, her tutor, who she's in love with, decides to go back downtown to where they met Erica and be like, yo, Erica, Annalise is fucking missing, and if you don't pretend to be her, the wedding to the king is going to get canceled. It's going to be the drill tweet up in here. We're going to go broke. And Erica is like, bet. Okay. Yes. Sure. She goes up to the castle, and then another great song. is the teaching montage.
It's really good. Where Julian
Julian's a
tries to
feminist.
teach her. Yeah, he teaches her about the inherent contradictions of womanhood. It's incredible.
Yeah, okay, so quick spoilers for the Barbie movie 2023. You can skip about 30 seconds in front. America Ferrera delivers this great speech about, like, all the contradictions of womanhood. And I think one of my biggest criticisms of the Barbie movie, parentheses 2023, is, like, the like, kind of millennial feminism of it all. But it's genuinely, like, a moving speech because it is rooted in that genuine anger of, like, I have to be all these contradictory things. Julian tells me all that in this movie. He gets it.
Right. And, like, aside from that, I think it's also just like a very smartly written song. There's a bit where he says, you know, you always have to harmonize in thirds, which I thought was really fun and good. Just like these lyrics are actually very, very well written.
No, truly. And again, Status Quo Calico comes from this movie.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, the king decides he's gonna dress up as a page boy and spy on his bride-to-be.
Mm-hmm.
So he catches Erica as Annalise singing to her dog cat.
Yeah, by the way, she has a cat who is a dog.
Yeah, the cat, again, it's genetic, the cat barks.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to meow to impress Serafina, who, by the way, everyone in this movie wants to kill Serafina.
Including Preminger's evil dog.
This cat is having his evil fucking Jersey-ass dog, who you pointed out sounds like Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, no, he does extremely... He would fit in any episode of Yu-Gi-Oh!
You could seamlessly replace him. So... Yeah, it is just a lot. So the king is, like, spying on Erica as Annalise, and then falls in love with Erica as Annalise, and Erica as Annalise is like, oh, I love the king, but, like, I'm totally lying to him, which is, like, not cool. Meanwhile, Annalise goes to Erica's dress shop with Kaede, and who is like, you're not the fucking princess, whose leg are you fucking pulling? Sends a note to Erica, that gets this is the fucking contrivances of this movie. It gets intercepted by Preminger, who then re-kidnaps her and caves her into a mine with Julian. Who he then proceeds to frame as the kidnapper, and then reveals Erica to be an imposter. Aaron, would you like to talk about the birthmark?
Yeah, so there would be no way to actually confirm whether or not Erica or Annalise was the imposter, except, of course, that the princess is born with a birthmark in the shape of a crown on her shoulder, which is the most divine right of king shit I've ever heard. Like, if that was in a fantasy novel, I would think it was incredibly stupid. But it is just like, yeah, by the way, the princess has a crown on her shoulder, and that's how you know that she was divinely ordained to rule.
Meanwhile, she is, again, a terrible ruler. All she cares about is rocks.
I mean, she loves to read about science. She identifies pyrite correctly. She also likes plants. She talks about how Julian and her have, like, a bit where they, like, identify her favorite rose. It's cute. It's fine. You know, it's kind of interesting to see, like, how even from, like, the 2000s, right, Barbie was trying to encourage girls to learn about, like, STEM. I think that's a weird read and perhaps a bad one, but I'm gonna stick by it.
No, you're 100% correct. Like, this is what STEM encouragement looked like for little girls in the 2000s. Like, and it worked, right? Like, if Barbie could be it, you could be it. Now, that doesn't wipe out, as the, like, again, 2023 Greta Gerwig Barbie movie rightfully pointed out, like, there's a lot of women that have, like, rightfully issues and, like, hang-ups around Barbie, but the more modern Barbie is very much about, like, empowerment for little girls. So, right. Or at least that's the intent, right?
I mean, as we've seen through these movies, I think that's true, right?
Yeah,
very few of them, you know, after Swan Lake, you know, have anything to do with, like, really romance. So
yeah, like, Ken, he's just Ken.
He's just Ken. His job is beach. Parentheses.
Yeah,
poaching.
She sees love, he sees a friend. Or sorry, he sees love, she sees a friend.
Correct.
Really getting it mixed up today. And now, okay, so around this time, Erica breaks out of prison
Mm-hmm.
And guess who's in disguise again?
It's Dominic.
It's Dominic the King. And he's like, hey, I don't think that Preminger is, like, right about you, so I'm gonna help you out. And she's like, great. And then Aaron, how does Annalise and Julian get out of their little predicament?
They do a Legend of Zelda physics puzzle. Okay, step 1. Julian hits a vein of water while using the pickaxe that Preminger left inside the mine to help try to get the cave out. So first off, the cave is kind of filling up with water. 2, Erica's dog cat digs a hole and discovers a mine shaft, which reveals that they can get out through the opening in the ceiling. 3, they get inside a barrel and then trigger the water to go more, so they float up, and they float up and out of the mine shaft, and that's how they escape, and I think that rules.
And the barrel is truly the master touch, because, like, they could have just swam up, but no, she had to stay dry.
Right, exactly. They had a wedding to crash. Can't go to a wedding all soaked
and
from mine water.
At the wedding, the queen is wearing her usual cartoon purple outfit. Preminger's in white.
Which is very good.
Serving cunt.
Mm-hmm. Gotta give
There's
it up.
also a beautiful series of outtakes during the end credits of this, and half of it is just Martin Short ad-libbing, like, compliments to himself in a beer, which is just really good.
It's fun. I love that they have animated bloopers. That's a fun thing.
I miss animated bloopers. We should do more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this movie, it had everything. Preminger, Nick and Knack, fucking a poppin' soundtrack.
Very good.
Really good soundtrack. What was the lesson? Use disguises?
Disguises are good, and you should... Love is alright, but also you gotta go do a singing tour in Europe before you commit to love, I think.
Right. Erica takes the ring and goes.
Right, at the very end, Dominic, like, asks to marry her, and she's like, I'll think about it, but I am taking your ring first. And she comes back, and it's fine. But very funny that she's like, I'm not going to commit to you. I'm my own woman, which is very, very empowering.
And I love that for her. Okay. I would like to do a little funeral for double weddings.
Okay.
Dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbyes to the worst trope, well, one of them, top 5 worst trope of the aughts, double wedding all the way across the sky.
So, can you give me some examples of double weddings? Because I know there's one in here, but, like...
There's that Anne Hathaway movie that I cannot remember the name of.
Oh, it's not The Princess Bride, but The Princess...
No, it's not a princess one. It's like a modern one. It's something about... It's like these two best friends, they keep trying to sabotage each other's weddings because they're on the same day. 2000s rom-com starring Anne Hathaway. I cannot... And it happened also other times that I cannot remember. I just know I hate it every time I see it. I'm sorry. Listen. Hey... I think I've said it enough on this podcast, or at least I've implied it enough on this podcast. I'm a romantic, okay? I'm a pragmatist, but deep down underneath that hard Excel sheet exterior of my fucking horrible personality is just like a gooey little guy who loves romance, right? I love weddings. Every time I go to a wedding and I see the groom because I've only been to straight weddings, gays, this is your fucking sign, invite me to your weddings. Every time I see the groom at the altar and they're like tearing up as they see the bride come down the aisle, I also tear up. I cry, right? I have to share that fucking moment with somebody, I will turn violent. There will be no white dress. There will be a red dress. It's so stupid and it's so awkward. I already kind of hate the idea of like the ceremony being in front of a lot of people. Because I'm a very private person. I also just don't like being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And being vulnerable in front of people scares me. And shout out to my therapist who tells me that all the time. if I had to do that and then share that, and then, because people would start comparing the side by side. Aaron.
Disastrous.
What are we doing?
Monstrous. You should,
Monstrous.
Yeah. Bride Wars, I believe, is what you were referencing.
Thank you. Bride Wars. Terrible movie. As far as I remember. Shout out to Anne Hathaway, though. One of my all-time faves. Love her so much. Yeah, so it's, bye, double weddings, never want to see you again, unless it's like a poly thing. Back then it was not. It was the most exquisitely heterosexual thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, we've gotten to the plot summary.
Hey, these special episodes, we like to take our time.
Yeah, and you know what? It's worth every penny. So, for our talking points, after you've taken a pretty, there's like 40 Barbie movies at this point, so like, this is not necessarily a representative sample, but it's a significant sample. Sure. And of the 5 movies we've watched, Leyla, what do you think are the thematic cores of the Barbie franchise?
I mean, Barbie has to have some sort of skill, right? And then she also has to have some sort of empowering message. They don't always have to be like the classic ones. Like, again, I think of the messages, I think the Spy movie was the strongest, because it was very much like, hey, performance anxiety, here's how you overcome it, and here's how you overcome it as part of a team, and like, it was really good. Like, I don't know. It has to be that at its core, right? And then it also has to be fun. The universe of the Barbie movies is cupcakes and glitter bombs and pink and purple and cute outfits and dress-up montages and cool songs. Like, the universe of the Barbie movies is feminine and safe. Like, and even though, boys usually feature some sort of kind of central role, there's never like a threat. Right. Of the like love interests or the friends. They're not complicated, right? They're very straightforward. Well, they're contrived, but they're not complicated.
Right.
It's stuff like that. And I think that's really good. I like that a lot for a space for children's entertainment.
Right. And I think like, that core, messaging of safety and femininity and like, being able to trust the people around you and overcoming challenges, like, really does make these, like, on the whole, hit harder, at least when we compare this to last year's, flight that we imbibed, which is to say the Disney sequel spectacular. And I think you have a really good point about why, the sequels were just like overall much worse movies than any of these. But I do think that like that the universe in which Barbie exists is one that is like thematically not necessarily constrained, but consistent in a way that like you can kind of expect a solid, kind of, delivery of ideas that I think really kind of works to its benefit because it can keep using that same formula, which I like.
Yeah, the problem with the Disney movies is fundamentally that the originals of the Disney sequels are very self-serious. Like, they're funny, but they're contained in their own universe and their own rules, and the characters have like serious messages, and it's, there's some like really beautiful like songwriting and color design and stuff like that. And then the sequels are just kind of like hasty. They rely on the IP. They're actually, like, if you look at them, most of them production-wise are fine movies for the time period and the budget, but in comparison to their originals, they just seem so much worse because Disney was going through a hard time financially. There was like a lot going on. Also Bush era, right? There's 2 things we blame on this podcast: Reagan and the Bush era. And so, it's not great. But these movies, they rely on their own internal cartoon logic. So, like, even the shit that doesn't make any sense is fine because it's cartoon logic and it's cupcakes. And that's fine, right? And Barbie doesn't have to be this serious thing. She can be anything. That's the point of Barbie. So, I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I really like these. I think this is like a spiritual contrast to our Disney sequels episode, because I did go on like a 6-minute rant about colonialism in Disney sequels episode.
Yeah, not nearly as fraught as Pocahontas 2 this time, which I appreciate. However, we still have time to invent a fraught Barbie movie. So, Leyla, for our marketing minute, I propose that we here at Mortified Industries pitch
Mortified LLC.
Yeah, LLC. Pitch what our own animated Barbie movie looks like. I've laid some options out in our outline, but what do you think that, like, if we were going to direct a Barbie movie, like, what would it be about? And what would its, like, kind of messaging look like?
Okay, listenership, I want you to know that the options Aaron has presented to me are all incredible. Diaspora Barbie, former theater kid Barbie, older sibling complex Barbie, dealing with being a high achiever Barbie. So, I think Spy Squad covers high achiever.
Right.
I think Dolphin Magic actually covers older sibling complex in a way.
That's true,
because Stacy is sick of hand-me-downs. I don't think Diaspora Barbie can fit into a cartoon logic world. It could, but not out of Mortified LLC. Now, former theater kid Barbie.
That works with the themes, I think.
I think we're fucking cooking with former theater kid Barbie. Because what you're dealing with is this really scary concept of getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And, you could have a Barbie who feels like she has to fit in with an older crowd without that centering around the common kind of like children's entertainment themes of like drugs.
Mm-hmm.
A Barbie who feels like she has to be more serious. Like Elle Woods,
Right, right.
Going to Harvard. And then kind of reckoning with how do you enjoy things that you enjoyed when you were younger as an older person, which I think is like super relevant to this period of time.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. No, and I think that is like the way that it would be plotted out, I think, is that, like, Barbie would be missing the time that she could have been in theater, and being like, yeah, but now I have to, be older, and like you can see that arc pretty cleanly, where it's like, okay, Barbie meets somebody or is like, having these conversations with friends, which is like, yeah, as you get older, it is scary and you have to like kind of perform different things, but like we are all performing in different ways, and like if you can find a place where it is safe to do that old kind of performance, find the kinds of people that are still okay with being theater kids, quote unquote, even as you're older, maybe you don't have the time to devote, time to going to actually being in a play, but perhaps you can, do improv or something. Maybe that's where it ends up. But like, I think this would fit very neatly in the Barbie universe.
There's also the extremely relevant reckoning of the like cringe but free thing, right?
Oh, that's good.
I see a lot of stuff online about like, there's this weird reckoning right now about what it means to like indulge in your hobbies and be cringe, but at the same time it like has this weird gray area overlap with mental health about being like, what do you do if you like, how do you empower people who have maybe attention disorders or something that are quote unquote annoying? How do you bridge that gap with like personal responsibility and how you like act in public, like manage your own behavior as much as you can, while you're in a public setting, while still being true to yourself, right? And not being ashamed of the way your brain works. I think there's a lot there, right? That you could put together a Barbie squad. I want to see an ADHD Barbie.
There you know
that's what I'm getting at. I want to see an ADHD Barbie who, like me, was an annoying theater kid and had to really rope it in. There's a lot that could be done there. I think that's our fucking gold mine. Mattel, call us.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I think we've hit the end of our episode. Do we have any other big notes we want to hit?
Oh, lordy, Lord. Do we? I mean, like, I just want to make sure we're all aware that, like, Preminger is a cunty character. Like, Martin Short really did that for us. I want a Marlowe, justice for Marlowe the poacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that I never have to look at children fairies with adult voices again.
Yeah, no, this is one of the things about this podcast that is very fun, is that we are, we have like a very small listenership, so like we can basically do whatever we want. We aren't beholden to an audience, so we can just do like a huge, wild selection of media, and like I genuinely think that it like helps me become a better person by, so much media that I've consumed through this podcast I would not have engaged with, in my wildest dreams. So it is kind of nice just to be able to get this section of Barbie content and be like, what can we learn about telling stories and being creatives from this? So
yeah, and I think the lesson here is let loose.
That's right.
Go cartoon logic. Have fun. Give Odile a dolphin laugh.
I agree.
Yeah.
Leyla, when we are not subjecting ourselves to gauntlets of questionable children's entertainment, where can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSES on Tumblr and Blue Sky. Not Twitter, but Blue Sky. Where I just drew a picture for the first time in 2 years. Very exciting. Please go say nice things about it. But otherwise, just vibes. I'm very busy at work. How about you?
I'm at AaronSXL on Twitter, AA Voigt on Blue Sky, Monster Factory Fanfic on Tumblr. Mostly talking about tabletop games, but also sometimes writing, sometimes health policy. My main site is aavoigt.com, so go there if you want to get all of my contacts. I just released a YouTube video at aavoigt on YouTube about the Indiana supplement I wrote at the beginning of the year, and how, I'm going to be sad to be leaving Indiana. So if that's interesting to you, please check that out.
Go listen to Aaron's video essay about Finley, or I'll come to your house and eat you.
Thank you. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Layla.
Oh boy.
Layla, what do you think I'm running here? A cabaret?
I would have said a debtor's prison.
We'll see you all next time. Great. Good.
We did it.